Hey everybody, here's the shirt for the day. I might look like I'm listening to you, but in my head, I'm playing guitar. My wife got me that shirt because you know how many times I've heard, Bob, are you listening to what I'm saying? Or you thinking about some song? I'm listening to what you're saying. Just tell me one more time, what was it? Okay. Hey, today I just want to talk about, the Asian market, Chinese guitars. There's a lot of them, and 2025 is going to be quite a year, I think, for a lot of these guitars coming over. And I would never tell anybody what to buy. Everybody's got to have their own thing. But the Chinese copies are, to me, I consider them, I guess, like a movie prop. That's what it is. It's a movie prop. I have one friend who he won't. I have not just one. I have several friends that will not buy Chinese guitars initially. They want me to buy them. They want to see how they are, and then they'll go ahead. A lot of people have had disastrous results dealing with China, so I can't blame them. I've been pretty fortunate. I've been pretty lucky. Of course, communication is a big deal. If you're not good in common Mandarin, well, you better get a translator because you're going to need it. Communication is the key part whenever you're dealing with any product buying it overseas in China. But they're movie props. And on that word about movie props, let me tell you, if you've ever seen the Quentin Tarantino movie, Hateful Eight, it's a Western, and there's a scene in there where Kurt Russell takes this guitar and smacks it and hits it and says, you're no good, and this and that. Well, the guitar he uses is an old Martin, and Martin loaned the movie studio 128-year-old Martin for this. It came out of their museum, and they made a copy. They had a copy made, and when the scene comes and Kurt Russell smashes it, it's the copy he's going to grab and smash. Only he didn't. He grabbed the real McCoy. He grabbed that 128-year-old guitar. So what happened? Did they both look that identical? I'm sure the person that was responsible for substituting that guitar is probably looking for other work. They might be working at Five Guys or something now. But yeah, that's a disaster. But also, gee, it must have been kind of confusing if they looked that close. We're in a time right now where we never could do this back in my time when I was young. You can get any kind of guitar you want from anywhere and just have them make it, and they'll make it. And it's got a lot to do with a lot of it's CNC manufacturing. And like I said, I was a CNC operator. My last job at the steel mill was a CNC operator. And just to give people that don't know how that works an example, I made the rolls, these great big rolls in the roll shop that you would roll the steel with. You'd start out with let's say a 4-inch square, and you'd put it through a set of rolls to get it down and down and down and down until you got it small. So you would make a roll, and it'd have these V cuts in it like this. So I might take an iron roll and I'd put it on a block lathe. And a block lathe is very labor intensive. A block lathe runs at about 5 RPM, 5 revolutions a minute. I mean, you can watch an ant walk across these things. You have to make your own tools, block lathe. You have to have your math skills all intact. You've got to line this up. It takes a lot of prep. It takes a lot of prep to make your own tool. An iron roll is very, very hard compared to steel. Steel is soft compared to iron. So anyways, we would make this roll, and I'd put it in the machine, a block lathe, and like I said, very labor intensive. It might take me, this particular roll I was making, a 14-inch diameter. I could make that roll in approximately 4.5 to 5 days, working 8 hours a day. That's how labor intensive it is. Same roll, same equipment, you only put it on a CNC lathe. And instead of 5 RPM, you're running this thing at about 70 RPM. And you're not using metal tools and carbide to cut it. You're using ceramic. When I say ceramic, I'm talking about the same stuff your coffee mug's made of. It's a little different consistency, but it's ceramic. Ceramic with iron, and if you run it fast, it'll cut it. Could do that same roll, the same roll it would take 4.5 to 5 days. That same roll would take approximately 3 hours to make. It's that quick. And the thing is, it's perfect. It's perfect. You can have a lot of master machinists, and each one is a master, just like you have master luthiers, and each one has a certain way they do things. Well, the CNC eliminates that. It's going to be uniform the whole way. You just put in a program and it duplicates it. Now, if the program is bad and it's wrong, it's going to be junk. But if it's right, you got a winner. So if that program is junk, then the first one's going to be junk and the 100th one's going to be junk. But that's how it works, and that's how it is with guitars too. They're using CNC equipment, and all they're doing is just putting in the things. Somebody could have a Gibson body, and yet they put a neck on and say, I want a Fender headstock. Yeah, okay, they just put in the program Fender, switch, and it just does it. Where a luthier, a person making a handmade guitar, he's going to be working at that bench. He's got to get the specs and it go, and that's what you're paying for. It's that hand-built guitar. Where a production line, I call them production line guitars. Production line guitars are when you're making multiple guitars at one time, which most factories do. But yeah, that was a sad story about that Martin guitar in that movie. But I guess that stuff happens. And here's the other point: these Chinese copies that come in, a lot of those makers really don't want to make them. I have one particular person I do a lot of business with over there, a builder, or I should call him a reseller or whatever. He had his own factory. I don't know if he still has it. But like a lot of guys over there, he wanted to make a mark. He wanted to have his guitar made and get it out there with his name on it. They had all the equipment, they had the technology, they've got the good luthiers. And this was his goal, was to make his mark like Gibson and Fender and Martin and all of them did. And he found out it's just hard to do. It's very, very hard to do. It didn't go very well, and he ended up just giving people what they wanted. And that's the key to business. You have to give people what they want. You know, if somebody wants a hamburger, you don't sell them a pineapple. They want a hamburger. So anyways, now we go 2024, 2025. This same individual that I'm talking about, he's just making copies, whatever people want, and he makes them. He doesn't make them; they're made in a factory, and I'll explain how all that works in a second. But anyways, he thought he's doing good business. People know his name. He's selling a product. Now I'm going to try it again. So he comes out with a product called a Lescaster. It's a Lescaster. It's part Les Paul, parts Telecaster. And he joins the two, and he put his own name on it. And he's pushing this, and some people have reviewed it. They've tried it. You can see it on YouTube. You can find him. He's pushing it, but I don't know where it's going. I wish him all the success, but you've got to give people what they want. That's the name of the game. And I think so many manufacturers understand that, and they try and do that. Some do it better than others, but we'll have to see. But anyways, you'll see a lot of these small guys on Reverb, eBay, market. They're all over the place. They're all online. They're on AliExpress, Alibaba, all that. There's all these guys with guitars, and how are they doing that? How does that exactly work? Well, if you've ever went to one of those sites and explored how you purchase and how you buy, you can get a guitar. Let's say it's a Fender Strat copy. It's just a Fender Strat with, let's say, no name on it. You can get it like that with no name. If you buy one, let's just use round figures, it's $100. All right, but if you buy 10 of them, it's $80. If you buy 100 of them, It's down to $50. And that's what these small guys are doing. They'll get one guy that can put the order in, and he has the money to back it, and he can buy a big lot of these guitars. And then everybody takes a piece. It's kind of like they do that in the stock market too, if you know how all that works when you break down a block. But this is similar. Everybody's taking a little piece. That's why when you go to some of these sites and you see a guitar for sale, and then you go back to it and say, yeah, maybe I will get that. And it says it's all gone. How can it be all gone? The guy says he had 1, 2 left. He really did have 1 or 2. Some of these guys are only buying 3 guitars. They don't want to tie up all that money if it's not going to sell, if it's not going to go good. And there was a lot of competition on AliExpress or eBay. I mean, check it out. It's there. I'm not telling you any secret. Everybody can see this stuff. But that's how that works. They're all putting in an order from someone and taking a piece of it so they can get that big discount. And then they'll take the guitar and they can put Bozo or Hookiki Dicky or your name, or put anybody's name on the headstock, or put something a little extra, or put a pickup in it. Do whatever they want. They can modify it. And they're only doing it to a few. They're not doing it to 1,000 guitars. They're only working on a few guitars, so they can handle it in a small shop. The factories over there, the Chinese factories, are huge. They are big factories. Well, I mentioned in my other video, Gibson abandoned the one factory they made in China, and I don't know who's running it now, but there's a lot of good product coming. I mean, they taught them how to do all this stuff, and they taught them well, and they're making whatever you want. So is it something that everybody should buy? No. Is it wrong? I don't know if it's wrong or not. I have one friend of mine, as I was saying, he doesn't play guitar. He doesn't know how a guitar is tuned. He can't play a note. And he never wants to. He doesn't want to. All he wants is some nice guitars hanging. It's like he just wants nice, pretty guitars. There's certain guitars he saw in a movie or in a book, and he saw somebody play, and that's the guitar he wants. He just wants to hang it in his rooms. That's what he buys. He buys copies because the real ones are too expensive, and he's not going to play them anyways. It's just a decoration. I have another person. He's a drummer, very good drummer, and he has a beautiful music room. It's very, very big. He's a big loft, and it's a beautiful room. And he doesn't play guitar. He doesn't know anything about guitar, but he wants to decorate his room with copies, and that's a great purpose. He's got movie props. They're copies in his room. What's the big deal? And as mentioned before, you see these copies, you'll know right away it's a copy. You're not going to be fooled and think, oh, he's got the real McCoy there. No, he ain't got the real McCoy. He ain't got nothing but a copy. So you're going to see this more and more and more. The market is going to be flooded with this stuff. The other side of it is, as far as quality, a lot of these guitars coming out from over there, especially from these Chinese factories, a lot of these guitars are as good as any Epiphone guitar I've ever played. You know, most of them are solid top with a laminated back and sides. If you want to get into their good stuff, if you want one of those builders to make you an all solid wood, they will do that. There's plenty to offer, but the price is out of sight. It's so high. You're better off buying a brand name. You're better off going with a Fender or any of these companies that. Well, the Fender is made in China, and the Recording King is made in China. Blue Ridge is made in China, but still, you're getting a better value, a better guitar. You've got somebody to back you up. You've got a name, a company behind you. So, I never promote my copies, but they're just for me in my room. That's all they are. I have people that enjoy coming over to my house just to sit, and we'll talk and just play what I've got and see what it is. And then they'll say, well, okay, well, maybe I will buy one from over there in China and take a chance. But you've just got to be real careful with the sellers on the internet. You've got to be very, very careful. There's so much bait and switch. You're not sure what you're getting. And the descriptions, forget it. You don't rely on any descriptions. You know, I've seen ones, especially the guys I deal with, it'll say all solid wood, solid road. Hey, solid wood. You can see it right away. It's laminated. But they have a way of talking that it gets lost in translation. For instance, you might say, a person left a comment about asking me about this. It might say ivory tuners, ivory knobs on the tuners. Well, it could be real ivory because over there they don't go by laws like we do. There is no law over there. It's just a big free for all. So it could be, or it could be ivory colored uh, knobs, ivory colored tuners. But they don't say that. It could be either one. So you've got to ask them. You've got to get all these details down. Is it solid wood? Yeah, yes. It's all made out of wood. Yeah, yeah. But is it solid wood? Yes, it's a wooden guitar. No. What I'm asking you, and this is how it goes. You know, it's like pulling teeth. So you got to either use that Mandarin translator or take a chance and roll the dice. But in 2025, I think we're going to see a flood of this stuff coming in. And I think we're also going to see, I am not going to be surprised if we see Gibson building guitars, having guitars built over in China, because they're going to jump on the bandwagon. They've already done it. They proved it with Epiphone. They proved they can get a top-notch guitar out in the Masterbuilt series. And they tried it once before, building a factory over there. And I think I really do. I think the economics are going to dictate it. Fender has proved that they can get some beautiful guitars out of there. And the only difference between building it over there and building it in the US is basically the labor. Yeah, you can say it's the wood. You could say it's Joe Blow's wood chisel is better than that guy's. Well, everything's a roll of the dice. When a bottom line is, if it works for you, if it feels good and it plays good and you love it, so what? So, you know, if somebody said that's a piece of junk, well, yeah, okay, maybe it's a piece of junk. I got a lot of pieces. People say it's a piece of junk. Maybe it is, but I love it, and that's the only person that's got to be happy with it is me. So what the hey? So that's all I wanted to cover today. I hope I didn't bore you, but these are two fine examples of the kind of stuff you can pick up over there that's just incredible. But all right, I'll talk to you later. See you.